I am here with my mom, Jill. I am Tara. We're from livingonadime.com, and we are talking about single moms and being lonely. Mom was a single mom, and were you lonely?
Well, yeah, I was.
All right, we are the authors of the Dining on a Dime cookbook, where you can eat better, spend less, even if you are a single mom. So, how did you deal with your loneliness?
But when you said that, I was thinking, you certainly don't have a problem with loneliness, do you? Her husband works at home and she's got 4 kids, so she doesn't have that. How did I deal with it? Well,
you were, okay, so just a little background for those who don't know. Mom was a single mom from, probably not quite 15 years, about 13 years or so, somewhere around there. So.
Well, I still have been.
You're not a single mom, really.
Now, because you grew up.
Single, but yeah. So about 13 years you were a single mom.
Yeah. And I think the thing, my situation was, I've seen many women react to this loneliness in different ways, and you have to be very, very careful, because we're talking single mom, and what happens is when you become, if you're lonely as a single mom, your children are probably twice as lonely. If their dad has died or left or whatever, they have a lot to deal with under those circumstances. And you think it's hard on you. You can't even imagine what your children are going through. And I think that's the biggest thing with the single mom is you have got to, I hate to say get over yourself because that sounds unkind, because I know it's hard. I mean, you know, it is, the loneliness is real and the loneliness is hard. And sometimes you don't think you could make it. I just was telling Tara, I found this perfect saying. It's, what was it? How did I say it? Let's see if I can find it here. It is cry a river, build a bridge, and get over it. I thought that was perfect to describe a lonely single mom. You cry, you have to cry. You're going to have to cry. But then you take and you get up and you do what you have to do, and then you just move on. And part of that helped me to do that is my kids needed me. They were young enough that I had to take care of them. I didn't have financial help, so I had to work hard to provide for us. I just stayed so busy all the time. I couldn't allow myself the luxury to feel sorry for myself. I wouldn't have mind having my hair done and my nails done, or to go out on social functions, dating. Well, I really wasn't dating, but if you want to go dating and that type of thing, those are all great and wonderful. And yes, people do need those, but for a short period of time, your focus cannot be on yourself and that. You have focused, your responsibility, let me put it that way, is on your children. And we don't hear that now. We hear you take care of yourself. You're number one. You're special. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your kids. And that is true on some levels, but we always overkill. We think if a little bit is good, then we're going to go all the way. And we become selfish and it's all about me. Well, I've got to think about myself too, not just my kids. No, my kids, when you have the responsibility of a child, when God's given you that child, you have to take care of it. It's not going to be forever. I mean, it's not going to be forever. It's like having my children was such a small blurb on my radar. Now they still haven't quite gone away yet, I'm still a mom and I'm still a grandma that time, but the responsibility of that was lifted. About the time they turn 18, it was gone. So don't think, well, this is going to last forever. I'm going to be an old woman when they leave home. No, you aren't. I mean, Tara is the age that her kids left home a couple years ago, or they're working on it a couple years. She doesn't look like an old elderly woman. If she had to get a husband, she could probably find her husband. And bottom line, that's what you're all thinking. I mean, really.
Well, and that, I was going to say, since we have a little bit of time, let's touch on moms and dating, because, okay, you guys aren't going to like what Mom and I have to say about this. I'll just warn you right now. But we have noticed a lot of single moms, they put so much emphasis on dating and getting remarried. And we have seen personally case after case after case where single mom was just so lonely, and I just don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm so lonely. And she goes and she starts dating and dating, and then she ends up getting married, stepkids, all this. It ends up in divorce. It ends up being like major issues where kids are
You
being put.
compound the emotional problems.
So let's
Compound it.
talk about a little bit about dating and
Well,
what your opinion
I was going
is.
to. Well, I was going to tell you a story, and I hesitated. I didn't know if I should or not. But there was, at the time I was by myself, I knew 3 other women that were in the same type of situation, had children, single mom type of thing. One of them, she was bound and determined that she was going to school. She was comfortable off, but she was going to get her degree and that type of thing because she wanted the education so she could work and do that. But she was desperate to date. And even though she wasn't doing anything wrong necessarily, she was dating different men and bringing them home to the kids and she was going out on dates. Your time, you're not going to want to hear this, your time should be spent in the evening spending with your kids. They can't handle the emotional, whatever you want to call it, of mom bringing home somebody to replace their dad, especially if it's only been 6 months or a year after it's happened. You need to wait a time period. You're emotionally tore up. You can't think straight with these emotions all in a turmoil. You're lonely, you're scared, and you're going to jump in and do something you're going to wish you hadn't done. And it didn't work out. She had problems later on with both of her kids. I know another woman that had very young kids. Her first thing is, I'm going to do my hair and have my nails done every month. I don't care how much money I have or don't have. And she was desperate to date. That's all she talked about. Well, how am I going to find somebody? She would even go to different churches trying to find some men to date. And I mean, that's all that consumed her. Her thoughts was consumed about her loneliness and dating. And her kids actually grew up, and I think about 3 of them aren't even speaking to her, don't want to have anything to do with her. It's an emotional time bomb at these things. And if you're throwing in dating, and there's other ways to take care of your loneliness. If you have to, you get women friends to support you. But it's because the kids aren't threatened by women friends. If you need to go in and talk to a counselor or a pastor, find somebody that when you're having those spells that you can talk to. I think a good friend is best. Of course, we haven't even mentioned, I clung to God. Sometimes I thought, I can't get more lonely. And I mean, I was on my knees praying and sobbing my eyes out, thinking, I can't do one more day, not one more day. And all I said was help. I would just say help. Sometimes that's all I could say because the hurt was so deep and so profound inside of me. I couldn't even say anything else. And I couldn't utter words. And it was like, I didn't need to. You don't think God is your Father who knows you inside and out and made you, didn't understand? You're a mom. If you knew your child was sobbing out of loneliness, wouldn't you in a heartbeat be all over the situation and fix it? If you had the power to fix it perfectly, fix it for them? Of course you would. So why do you give God any less credit than that? And so that was my number one above all else. Then you have to have a good, especially if you have a woman friend that's in the same situation. But I don't always believe in singles clinging to singles. I think you need a mixture of, married couples need to draw in single. And I don't know if there's any married couples watching this, but if you are married, you need to include those single moms in with you. And if you're as a single mom in a Sunday school class, you need to make sure. I stayed away from the single Sunday school classes. I went with the married couples.
Sorry, but usually it's
It
a
can
bunch
get
of
to
desperate
be-
people that
it
are
is,
just wanting to date.
And they want sympathy and they want pity, and you each are wanting the other to pity you, and it just can drain you if you're not very careful. Now, all these things are general. We're gonna have comments. Well, this didn't happen with me, or I got married and we had a perfect ideal wedding. those are so rare and few and far between. You know, don't even mention them, because we're talking a majority here.
Yeah. I will tell you that, yeah, I know I'm not single, I haven't been there, but after watching my mom and her friends and watching my friends, I cannot honestly think of one person, and I mean, I'm going through my head right now of like 10 to 15 people, one person who was a single mom and wasn't desperate and started dating that didn't have major issues.
Yeah.
Major issues.
You saw that watching me?
No, I
my
mean
friends,
your friends.
My friends, yeah.
Yeah, no, your friends.
Yeah.
And even my friends.
Yeah.
And even to the point where I had one, and her husband was abusive to her, and I said, and it came out that he slammed her up against the wall literally 5 minutes before she was walking down the aisle, and threatened her and slammed her up against the wall, and she still got married to him. And it's been nothing but a horrible, abusive disaster for her. Now, you can say, oh, I'm not going to pick that kind of... Guys, this really messes up your kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you are just being selfish. Flat out selfish. If that's all you think about, and I know, mom after mom is going to say, well, that's not all I think about. I really put my kids first. No, you really don't. And
there's no way you possibly can, because as a single mom, I had to work 60 to 70 hours a week some years in order to support us. And I didn't have that much time. And I had to take care of all the things that Dad takes around care of the house, handyman work, stuff like that. And I didn't have time to blow my nose half the time, you know. And I had to, but I made a point of spending time with the kids. And we'll get into, maybe in another video, of how I did that. But they were with me. I get so sick of this. I remember the first time I heard it, when it first was invented. Do you know what I'm going to talk about? I spent lots of quality time with my children, not quantity. It's not important. That's
a lie straight from the pit of hell.
I'll
say it for you, mother.
Thank you. I couldn't quite spit it out there, so
I lie.
And you know, ever since that saying came about, I have actually watched homes go downhill,
because
and
of
children's lives change because of quality time. And that, you ask any child if they haven't been brainwashed, you know, or something, they will tell you, I would rather have mom with me all the time than mom spend 2 hours staring at me. Okay, you think of this reasonably. Any of you that have been married, and you know, if your husband said to you, you know, I'm going to spend quality time with you, not quantity. I didn't want quality time for my husband. I wanted quantity time that had quality to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Quantity time that had quality to it. I didn't want him just spending an hour in the evening or 2 hours and saying, okay, now I'm going to do my own personal stuff or whatever I need to do. I wanted him with me every spare moment possible that was within reason. Of course, we had separate things we did, you know, and that, but we could do that comfortably, and we could do that with fun, because we spent so much time together. And I had an exceptional quantity time with my husband because he worked at home. But I wanted that with my husband. And I think most wives, if they're honest, of course, you don't want them hovering. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, just quietly sitting in the evening together. And if you want to talk and say something, they're there for you. I think I killed myself trying to be home when my kids got home from school, because the minute they'd walk in the door, they would take and want to tell me about their day. And I would have a snack for them on the table, and I would sit there and fold clothes or do something like that while they were talking to me, because that's how I got so much done. But I was there at the table with them. That doesn't mean you just sit there for 4 hours in the evening and look at them. They lived their lives. We lived our lives together. And that gave us the quantity time. And it also gave us the quality. And we would talk, they would tell me all about their school. And it's a proven fact that if you aren't home when the kids get home from school, and I know your jobs, sometimes this is not possible. Do it if you can. That they're going to tell you everything that happened at school that day when they walk in the door. But if you're not there an hour later, 2 hours later, they won't tell you. Do you think that's, I mean, for you guys, didn't you feel that was kind of true a little bit, the times that I couldn't be there? It's like they'd gone on and moved on, and there were things that they needed to talk about to you about what happened at school. And you miss an opportunity. Another time, best time though in the world to talk with your kids is in the evening when it's time to go to bed. They will do anything to stall going to bed, anything.
Yeah.
So if you sit there on the edge of the bed and tell them, tell me about your day, or try talking to them, they'll talk your leg off just so they don't have to go to bed. So pick your times, learn to do this stuff, but do not fall for that lie that, quality time is the most important.
Yeah.
They want you there. They need you there, especially in your search situation. They need you there because you're what they cling to. I don't care if they're teenagers or if they're 5 years old. You say, well, they're in school, and it doesn't. Teenagers need you just as bad, if not worse.
Our teenagers talk more to us than our little kids.
Little kids, yeah. Little kids just want you in the room, and they run around and play.
Yeah.
Teenagers want your total attention, to talk to you. So be careful with that. Don't delusion yourself or give yourself the delusion that, I give them
quality time.
Quality
is okay.
time, yeah.
Because it's not.
Or kind of.
Yeah.
But anyway, for the loneliness, if you're busy doing that type of stuff, being there for the kids, if you're busy keeping your house cleaned up properly, and working, you're going to find you're not going to have a whole lot of time to be lonely. It's just that when you let all that stuff go and you start going inward with your emotions and get your emotions under control. I know they're off the wall, but you can feel it coming. When you feel that despair working its way out of you, and you thought, oh, this isn't fair. Why did this happen to me? I don't deserve this, and he did this and he did that. You stop it. You immediately, the first thought that comes into your mind, you stop it. And you get up and you sing, you read your Bible, you go on YouTube and learn something new, you spend time with your kids, you do something, you stand up. If you have to, you stand up from where you're sitting or lying, and you go in and you do something productive. Wash the dishes, do something.
Yeah.
And, but you do
something to improve your life
instead of
wallowing in it.
And do that. And of course you do need a good friend, your sister, somebody. Pick, and don't make it for everybody. You don't need to go 25 people pouring your guts out all the time. You pick one person.
And don't sit on that person, and every single time you're with this person, all you do is dump on your ex. Don't do that either. It's fine if something happens, but when it's an every single time type of thing, then you need to get more counseling.
Did you want to talk about that now? Or
no, we'll do another
video. Okay, we'll do one. Because that destroys your children if you dump on their dad.
All right, guys, please visit us at livingonadime.com. We have tons, literally thousands of recipes and tips to help you save money and get out of debt, even if you are a single mom. This is where all the tips came from for our website, was because Mom was a single mom and we did it. So please visit us at livingonadime.com. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.